Heartbreaking announcement. Alex Eala's devastating goodbye after Guangzhou Open loss. Tears fell before the cameras stopped rolling. The crowd that once roared her name stood in stunned silence, watching as Alex Eala, the pride of the Philippines, stepped forward to deliver the words no one ever thought they'd hear. This isn't goodbye forever, but it's time for me to step away. The Guangzhou Open had just ended, but for Alex, it was more than the end of a tournament. It was the closing of a chapter, a painful pause in a journey that had defined her since childhood. And as she wiped her tears, the world realized that sometimes even champions need to breathe. The match that broke hearts. It began like any other match day. Under the blazing Chinese sun, Alex Eala walked onto court, wearing her signature calm smile, her eyes sharp with determination. Across the net stood a seasoned opponent, one who had tasted victory on many courts, but had never faced the full fire of the young Filipino spirit. The match was intense. Long rallies, thundering forehands, and moments that made the crowd gasp. Eala fought with everything she had, pushing through fatigue, pain, and the pressure of expectation. But destiny had other plans. After nearly 3 hours of brutal tennis, Alex's final shot, a backhand that had brought her so many victories, landed just wide. The scoreboard flashed the numbers that no fan wanted to see. 6-4, 3-6, 7-5. She dropped her racket, not in anger, not in defeat, but in exhaustion, the kind that reaches beyond the body, deep into the soul, the weight behind the smile. As Alex walked toward the net, she smiled through tears, hugging her opponent and thanking the crowd in Mandarin and English. But those who knew her best could see it, that flicker of sorrow beneath her composure. When she sat down at her bench, she buried her face in her towel, her shoulders trembling. The crowd began chanting, "Eala, Eala, Eala." It was in that moment that tennis fans worldwide saw something raw and real, the humanity behind greatness. For months, rumors had swirled that Eala was struggling with recurring injuries and mental fatigue. Her schedule had been relentless. Tournaments back-to-back, travel without rest, expectations mounting with every match. And yet, she never complained. She smiled, she fought, and she inspired. Until now, the announcement, after the match, as reporters gathered in the press room, Eala appeared wearing a simple white hoodie with a Philippine flag stitched near her heart. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling but firm. "First of all," she began, "I want to thank everyone, my team, my fan, my family, and every Filipino who believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself." She paused, clutching the microphone. "This loss hurts, not because I lost a match, but because it's time for me to say something I've been holding inside." The room fell silent. "I need to step away from tennis, for now." Gasps echoed through the hall. Some reporters froze. Others lowered their cameras. "My body and my mind need rest. I've given everything I have to this sport since I was 9 years old. I've fought, I've bled, I've cried, and I've won. But lately, I've been fighting battles off the court too, battles no one sees. And I owe it to myself to heal." Her voice cracked, and for a moment, she couldn't continue. Then, gathering her courage, she smiled softly and said, "This isn't the end. It's a pause. I'll be back, stronger, wiser, and ready to fall in love with tennis all over again." The world reacts. Within minutes, #ThankYouAlex trended globally. Messages of support flooded social media. Coco Gauff posted on Instagram, "Take your time, Alex. You've already made history. Now take care of yourself. The best is still waiting." IGA Swiatek tweeted, "Proud of your courage to speak your truth. The sport will miss your energy, but we'll be waiting when you're ready." Even Rafael Nadal, her longtime mentor from the Rafa Nadal Academy, released a statement. "Alex has the heart of a warrior. Sometimes the strongest thing a player can do is stop. She will rise again, no doubt." In Manila, the news played across television screens, sparking tears and pride across the nation. From students to senators, everyone had something to say. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. issued an emotional message. Alex Eala is not just a champion in sport. She is a symbol of Filipino perseverance. We stand with her in this moment of rest and reflection. the journey that changed a nation. For Filipinos, Eala is more than a tennis player. She is a dream realized. At 18, she became the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam. At 20, she broke into the top 60 in the world rankings, a feat once thought impossible for an athlete from Southeast Asia. She carried her country's flag across courts in Paris, New York, and Tokyo, and every time she won, she would look to the stands, raise a racket, and whisper, "Par ese Pilipinas," for the Philippines. She once said in an interview, "Every time I step onto the court, I'm not just Alex, I'm the Philippines." It was a heavy crown to wear, and she wore it with grace. The hidden struggles behind the victories, though, was a battle few knew about. In recent months, whispers of burnout had surfaced. The pressure to perform, combined with the loneliness of constant travel, had begun to weigh heavily on her. Her coach, Carlos Martinez, admitted after the match, "Alex is one of the toughest players I've ever trained. But she's human. She's been carrying too much. I'm proud of her for finally listening to her heart." Friends close to Eala said she had been struggling with recurring wrist pain and mental exhaustion, but didn't want to disappoint her fans or sponsors. "She's always pushed through," one friend revealed, "even when she was in pain." The legacy of a fighter. What Eala leaves behind is not just a string of victories, but a legacy of authenticity. She showed the world that greatness can come from anywhere, even from a small archipelago thousands of miles away from tennis's power centers. She made little girls believe that brown skin and Southeast Asian roots could belong on the world's biggest courts. And she reminded everyone that athletes are not machines. They are human, fragile, and brave. The final scene. As the lights dimmed in Guangzhou that evening, Alex returned to the empty court one last time. No cameras, no crowd, just her, the lines, and her racket. She stood at the baseline, bounced the ball twice, and whispered, "Thank you." Then she tossed the ball high and served, one last serve into the open sky, as if sending her love to the game that had shaped her. She watched it land cleanly on the far side court and smiled through tears. Because even in goodbye, she was pure poetry. A farewell that feels like a beginning. The heartbreak of Eala's announcement is undeniable, but within that heartbreak lies hope. Hope that she will return when she's ready. Hope that her pause will inspire others to prioritize well-being over pressure. Hope that one day, when she steps back onto the court, the world will rise to its feet and cheer not just for her comeback, but for her courage. And when that day comes, when the racket is back in her hands and her heart is light again, the whole world will know Eala never truly left. She just took the time to heal her wings before flying higher than ever. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.